if you look at the form, the essays section comes right in the second or the third page of the application. And I have not filled a lot of details here, but it comes in very late. Effectively, that means that the evaluator will already look at your GMAT GRE scores, your employment experience, your education, your extracurriculars, etc., before even getting to your essays. So there is an impression already formed with respect to your profile and what you bring to the table that leads into the essays. So make sure you put your best foot forward even in the application. It has to be very structured. It has to flow like a story with respect to your application, what you bring to the table, to your essays, to your goals, etc. So these are not distinct elements that you can fill separately and not pay heed to the connectivity across, right? So if I walk through this, these personal details are pretty standard. I don't think we need to go into that. Moving on to the test scores, again, make sure that the dates are there. Whatever date you requested the ETS on, appointment numbers is as per the attachment that you are adding as a proof. You can apply with an unofficial score. However, the score should reach ISB within 3 weeks of your application. In terms of the education, make sure you cover everything right from the start. It's pretty easy in terms of dates, CGPA, scale, etc. there. If there is a gap within the course or between two courses, do mention that. And again, be true around what happened there. For example, a lot of people after 12th would take a break for reappearing in a JEE or a MBBS exam. It's okay to show it there because a lot of people do that, and ISB appreciates that candidness. However, do mention what you learned through the process. If you got through a good institute after that, great. But if you did not, what did you learn? Just mention that as well in a very short fashion, right? Similar feedback for the graduation, etc., around that, right? This is where the meat of the application form comes in terms of your employment. Now, ISB looks at this in conjunction with the essays a lot more, because this is what you bring to the table. Your past experience has to link to your future in some sense, right? So if you look at this, industry employer activity is very important to add. If your employer, or for example, if you were in a startup or you owned a startup, if it's not well known, then it makes sense to have a couple of lines there in terms of explaining what the firm did. In this case, for example, I've added UBS, my previous employer, as a example, and we know they are into investment banking and wealth management, right? In terms of the job responsibilities, it's important to articulate what exactly do you do and what is the impact of your job. And it should not be that I am a Java developer, no, or it should not be that I am an investment banker. However, adding more color to your profile. I've just given a couple of examples in terms of, budgeting and financial planning across X member team. What is the spend that I managed across Y countries? That covers the breadth of the experience that you have. In terms of if you did something intangible which cannot be quantified, make sure that you talk about what exactly did you do. So you were part of, for example, in this case, a particular function. You defined their operating model and the service catalog and what the function actually should do. Similarly, with respect to initiatives and achievements, again, if you had a fast track promotion, mention the duration. It has to be comparable to something, right? Against an average of 6 years, or you were promoted 2 out of the 30 member team, for example. And specifically in these times, if you have gotten promoted, then it's an achievement in itself, because companies are going light on promotions. If you realize some savings, don't just mention only about the savings themselves. Talk about how you achieved them and what the outcome was. CTC, etc. is easy to add. INR 1, I'm sure you have more. As an entrepreneur, this is what we draw in general. So, moving on, if there was a reason for leaving, in case you have 2 more jobs, mention what you wanted to gain out of that. And this should also be part of your essay, as I talked about the linkages, right? that is a career move that you did. Why you did it, you should be mentioning it here as well. You should mention that in the second essay as well. And if there is a gap between employments, again, be authentic, talk about what you learned, whatever the reason was. It is plausible, so that perfectly works. Now, evaluator details, you have to just add one. We'll come to how to choose your evaluator in a bit. Again, awards and activities is very important. Again, don't just stick to talking about the award name. Talk about what you did and how you got that award. A Rising Star Award, for example, can be for a particular firm, but how did you achieve that? Were you a top performer amongst ex-employees? Were you awarded for your tenacity? Were you awarded for stretching beyond the targets or the call of duty, whatever it required to achieve? Again, extracurricular activities, whatever you have done significant around that, whether it is volunteering, whether it is a particular initiative that you took at work or at school or college, mention the level of participation, and with the name of the activity, just have a bit more color around whatever you did. It is about 100 characters, I think, so it's enough to explain at least the impact. Um, Hobbies are very important, and I'm saying everything is important, but yeah, in terms of hobbies, in general, don't just stick to reading, listening to music, and traveling. Add a bit more color around it. If you are fond of reading, you have a library worth of 1,000 books. If you are fond of traveling, you've traveled to X states over a period of Y years. If you are fond of music and you play a particular instrument, mention that and link it to also what you would probably do at ISB, that you would say you will perform with ISB jukebox, which is the music club at ISB, etc., etc. So again, wherever there is an opportunity, mention what you will do at ISB. And then after that, section G is what the essays would happen. So effectively, if you realize, the adcom will already know a lot about you before even looking at your essays. So make sure you fill it to the best of your abilities. It is structured. It gives a very important mirror into your profile, right? Scholarship details you have to enter. There are certain scholarships which are focused on need based. There are merit based scholarships, and for merit based scholarships you will automatically be considered by ISB, so you don't need to write a specific essay for those. Only the ones that are listed in the application portal need to have an essay, and the rest ISB will consider on your own. There are a few which you get after you get through an admission. So for example, there is a city scholarship which is for the city employees, or the city bank I'm talking about, and you have to write an essay afterwards, and the panel there chooses and awards those scholarships. And then the rest is more declaration, which is self-explanatory. So hope this helped in terms of answering or providing guidance in terms of how you actually should approach the application form.